At this International Conference of Industrial Engineering and Operations Management, this presentation talks about the need, approach, and practices of wisdom that can be the basis of decision making in Industry 4.0 to prevent the coming recessions. While industrial engineering uses Internet of Things to create value in society and for customers using excellence, the ideas of operations management seem to have changed significantly over time. The time and motion study mindset of Taylor and others, that kind of jobs are now being done increasingly by computers. New operations management ideas seem to be coming in their place. Google, for example, asks its employees to take 20% time off during working hours to work on areas which are not allocated to them. This is a different concept given to some employees. Innovative value addition has resulted both for customers and Google because of this. Many managers and CEOs today seek mindfulness as a basis of decision making. Silicon Valley companies and even companies like Apple are encouraging meditation, sometimes even during working hours. More so after the 2008 recession, a change in the mindset seems to be taking place. The total reliance on what was considered as excellence of financial instruments of derivatives, leveraging, etc., created an unpleasant surprise in 2008. Therefore, managers today seek excellence in the context of human goodness. This presentation will give 4 human values that enable the experience of goodness in creating excellence in Industry 4.0. While the Internet of Things creates excellence, the intranet of ideas within will create goodness for decision making. This change in mindset is evident from recent research. A former consultant of Apple has written a book, From Smart to Wise. 25 global leaders have reviewed it very favorably. These include some of the CEOs of topmost companies in the world today. The research of this book concludes that a focus on bottom line profitability, which is the old concept of operational excellence, creates a functional based focused, smart leadership, fast growth. However, this fast growth loses effectiveness rapidly, they find. Top line growth opportunities need a different focus. In a complex world, the book's solution is in wisdom and not in smartness. Later during this presentation, we will call this wise experience an experience of oneness with customers, which is a concept which deals with the operations management of the human mind. What was the need for this new mindset? What are the ideas which created problems? During the Industrial Revolution, the idea of profit maximization emerged from Adam Smith's work, Wealth of Nations. 17 years earlier to this work, Smith had written The Theory of Moral Sentiments, which till date is considered to be a Scottish Enlightenment work. The idea of profit maximization was used from a mindset of self-centeredness, which always restricts the human vision, while morality implies broadening that vision to see the impact of human actions on others. Society rightly expects that the Internet of Things should create well-being of people. There are 2 alternate visions of the human impact of Industry 4.0. Some feel that machines or computers are creating so much excellence that humans can no longer compete with them, and therefore humans will not be needed for work. Therefore, to deal with the mass unemployment, a universal basic income should be given to everybody. But will this vision be healthy for individuals and therefore for society? We will explore this later. The chairman of a global major from India, who was earlier heading a global software company in the Tata Group, has written a book titled Digital Nation. It envisions creating both employment and economic growth using digital ideas in the socio-cultural context of India. If such a vision is possible for India, can other CEOs make it for other countries too? In both these alternate visions, the problem of human stress in Industry 4.0 remains a worry for many. If we consider the first idea of universal basic income, it needs to be explored whether it is good for human health. The UK Health Foundation finds that not only is a job necessary, but a good job is necessary for human health. Some firms still use time and motion study mindset to create targets for employees, create unnecessary 24-hour connectivity, and use artificial intelligence to push the workforce to targets which are beyond the healthy limits of the mind and body. This creates a lot of stress, and it has led to the development of the global well-being agenda. Society 4.0 worries not only about the impact of stress on the current workforce, but also on the impact of stress on future workforce of teenagers and children. And they find that the digital social media is also creating stress on children. I'm sure that society deserves better alternatives than mass stress versus mass unemployment after almost 300 years of industrial revolution. Which are the ideas which can reshape Industry 4.0? The OECD, the World Economic Forum, and many other organizations are seriously working on ideas that can shape the future of the world in Industry 4.0. The OECD's Directorate of Education and Skills helps individuals and nations identify and develop that knowledge and those skills which can drive better lives and better jobs, generate prosperity, and promote social inclusion. All eyes are on education. The MBA curriculum of education, for example, was blamed for 2008. Financial leveraging and financial derivatives were tools of education. The current tools of education are like a knife. Given in the trained hand of a surgeon and a trained mind of a surgeon, it leads to cure. If the same knife is given to untrained minds, it can lead to murder. 2008 taught us many lessons. If the mindset of using the tools of education is changed, education can transform ideas and our future. The OECD has developed a common language about broad education goals. It has created a learning compass to achieve the objective of society to create well-being by 2030. It seeks to transform values and attitudes for creating well-being. Many modern thinkers agree with the OECD Learning Compass that reflection is needed before action. Professor Donald Knuth of Stanford, who got the informal Nobel Prize for Computer Science many decades ago, feels that all this digital age makes one on top of things, but he himself prefers to be on bottom of things because he needs long hours of studying and uninterrupted concentration. Professor Cal Newport of Georgetown University, who is the author of Digital Minimalism, Deep Work, etc., concludes that the key to living well in a high-tech world is to spend much less time using technology. The World Economic Forum has identified 16 skills which will be needed for the 21st century. It seeks to develop critical thinking, creativity, adaptability, etc., and finds and concludes that transforming human character for developing competencies is needed. A self-centered interpretation of profit maximization is like programming a car to reach a destination in the quickest possible time. Obviously, it will not use brakes of human values or follow any of the road rules of society. This can create a lot of accidents and fatalities on the road. 2008 was an example of such a mindset. Transforming the mindset that applies tools and techniques of education is critical. The challenge before education is how to develop values and character which World Economic Forum, OECD, etc. seek. The OECD report shows a graph which shows that both Industrial Revolution and Digital Revolution saw a lot of growth in education. However, the use of education was such that it led to a lot of social pain with economic prosperity. We need to now create economic prosperity without such social pain. The World 2018 Inequality Report shows that the bottom 50% of the population captured only 12% of the growth, while the top 1% of the population has captured 27% of the growth. The challenge for Industry 4.0 is to find which human values or which values will develop character. The current mindset of applying knowledge is value neutral. How to make it value based? Albert Einstein has said that it is not possible to solve a problem by the same mindset that has created it in the first place. Our mindset is that we traditionally use wisdom. Are ideas of traditional wisdom the cause of the problem? John Kenneth Galbraith, an eminent economist who had witnessed the Great Depression, concluded his writing career in 2004 with this statement that traditional wisdom leads to the economics of innocent fraud. 4 years later, the 2008 recession was probably not so innocent. If traditional wisdom can fail us, this presentation seeks and explores ancient wisdom for a solution. Wisdom gives experience of goodness as a context for human actions to create well-being. Industry 4.0 gives online and smart experiences which are driven by a convergence of digital, biological, physical innovations, and these experiences change the way value is created, exchanged, and distributed, moving from automated production to an automated society. This is impacting not only all disciplines and industries, but all economies too. What is the role of humans in a smart world? Is there any social goal beyond smartness? The OECD report concludes that tasks which require complex contextual information or ethical judgments are best left to human beings. Can smart experiences give skills to create well-being for all? This is the big question. Because well-being is the goal of OECD for society by 2030. The World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, EU, and many other global bodies recognize the primary importance of well-being. Those who are interested to know more about it, that how the well-being agenda prevents many social and economic problems, can click on a link of the conversation of the presenter with Professor Sir Cary Cooper, who was heading the Global Agenda Council of the World Economic Forum. Transforming education and mindsets for creating well-being should lead to using digital ideas with goodness. Can we unify it with faith in religion to make goodness the context for human actions? How to make everybody live in the experience of goodness? What actualizes the potential for creating excellence simultaneously with goodness? Today, the Wikipedia tells us that more than 75% people believe in religion. How to use their belief to make them live in an experience of acting with goodness? Living in the experience of the origin of the digital world offers a unique opportunity for humankind. The digital world is based on two numbers, 0 and 1. What is the experience of 0 and 1 using ancient wisdom? When decision makers of 2008 were faced with the biggest temptation, what happened? They succumbed to them. Multiply the biggest temptation or the biggest number with 0, it reduces it to 0. This is a unique quality of the number 0. No other number in the number set has it. Therefore, it is treated like a concept. The concept of 0 was called Shunyata. It is a 2500-year-old curriculum idea of Nalanda University. Students came from many countries to study how to live in the experience of 0 or Shunyata. Beyond temptation, the human mind seeks only one thing, the right thing to do. The one right thing to do. One also signifies oneness with the customer. This enables a focus on top-line profitability. If you recollect, we began the presentation by talking about the book From Smart to Wise and said that top-line profitability needs a different focus. It needs a focus of 1, the number 1 of the digital world, oneness with the customer. The oneness with the customer enables experiencing the emerging needs of the customer as they arise and creating products and services to fulfill them in new and unique ways. 1 is a unique number in the number set. It merges its identity into another number to experience becoming that number. The number 1 also signifies oneness of humanity that makes civilizations survive and prosper. These fundamental concepts are the basis of the emergence of the next shared values of society. There are other examples also of wisdom-based experience seeking in management. Google, for example, asks its employees to live and work in the experience of not to do evil. The same thing is said in hundreds of texts of the 5,000-year-old eternal ideas of righteous conduct in ancient India called Sanatan Dharma there. All its texts can be summarized in 4 simple words: help ever, hurt never. Any other interpretation of these texts is a misinterpretation and a misrepresentation. Maximizing profit as a value-neutral non-experience interpretation is what made Industry 1.0 to 3.0 suffer. Management now views profit as emerging from value-based inner experience ideas, which include well-being, corporate social responsibility, firms of endearment, social business, sustainability, conscious capitalism, shared value, etc. Businesses increasingly seek a purpose, and their ideas include EQ, ethics, soulful action, etc. These create not only financial value of profit, but also create experiential, social, and emotional value. Business and life are now becoming transformative, not just sensory experiences. How to design a wisdom-based curriculum in a scientific way around these ideas. Any approach to curriculum design must be scientific. A scientific approach always seeks the truth. For example, we want to know whether the earth is round or is it flat. Ancient wisdom also seeks the truth. It seeks the truth as an experience. Science seeks the truth as an experience of the outer world. Ancient wisdom seeks the truth of the experience of the inner world. Over thousands of years, ancient wisdom has concluded about the inner world of human beings that they are capable of creating excellence and filling that excellence with goodness. Only this potential has to be actualized. Education was its primary tool for actualizing this potential. Modern psychology has an author, Maslow, who also talks about self-actualization as a goal of life. When self-actualization becomes the goal of life for many, economic prosperity and goodness and well-being are created for everybody. The ability to live in the experience of 0 and 1 actualizes this potential. All religions now want educational institutions to teach in a manner to bring out the human goodness. They recommend using spiritual remedies of the East to lay the foundation of sound education. The Human Fraternity document, signed by His Holiness the Pope and His Holiness the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar Mosque, states the same thing. Wisdom 4.0 is about 4 shared values that create that experience through which all knowledge can be applied. The first amongst these shared values is a commitment to truth. The way of investigating truth is similar, whether we use ancient wisdom or we use modern science. Both use 3 P's. These are purity of purpose, patience, and perseverance. Purity of purpose implies that we have an unbiased mind when we conduct research and we are open to the truth that the research reveals. For example, if we tell the researcher to find out whether the earth is round or flat, and then tell him in an undertone that in case you find out it is round, we will consider you to be a heretic and burn you at stake. This is not the purity of purpose that is acceptable either to modern science or ancient wisdom. The second thing that is needed is patience. Why? Because the truth is sometimes not visible. The earth, for example, has a strong force of attraction called gravity. It is not visible. The human body is visible, but the human mind is not visible. It needs patience to infer the truth. A scientist had to see an apple falling from a tree to infer the force of gravity. The third thing that is needed is perseverance. Why? Because after discovering the truth, we have to discover whether this is part of the truth or is it the full truth. Therefore, we have to persevere and test the truth in every possible circumstance and in every possible condition. Because using something which is partly true in every circumstance as if it is fully true may not be desirable in a scientific approach or a wise approach. Using these three P's, ancient wisdom discovered or concluded that human beings are capable of producing excellence and filling it with goodness. Only this has to be experienced and lived in. How to live life in the experience of truth? Both ancient wisdom and modern science will come to the same conclusion. Ancient wisdom of the East and modern science both state that the truth is not as we see it. Modern science, quantum physics, tells us that the truth of the table, the chair, and objects that we see is not the real truth. The real truth is small, smaller, and very, very small. In mathematics, we would call it zero. The real truth lies in molecules, atoms, electrons, quarks. Therefore, the size of the truth, if we want to live in the experience of the truth, the size of that truth tells us to live in the experience of shunyata or zero of the digital world, the quantum world of a quark. The movement of the truth gives the experience of oneness. How? The human mind draws an artificial line in space, saying, this is my territory and that is the enemy's territory. The quark does not recognize any such line. My quark becomes the enemy's quark and the enemy's quark happily becomes my quark. The truth, the movement of the quark, and the movement of the truth of the quark demonstrates the oneness of humanity. How does this realization or this experience emerge within a human being? Ancient wisdom says that when we overcome the false sense of self-importance and live humbly and simply, we can live in the experience of the truth. This leads to the second shared value, which creates the experience of science as wisdom. The movement of the quark and the size of the quark tell us one thing, that whatever we are cheating for and whomsoever we are cheating for does not exist in the real world. Therefore, we should seek that one right thing to do and indulge in righteous conduct without fear or favor. When many people indulge in righteous conduct in society, economic prosperity with well-being is created. Those who want to use religion as a basis and their faith in religion as a basis of indulging in righteous conduct should consult the religious texts, because all religions are based on the concept that humans should follow righteous conduct. The third shared value is peace. Today, many global CEOs and managers seek to promote decision-making in the area of mindfulness. This mindfulness emerges from inner peace. This value is incorporated in all religions also as a guide to living life, not just business. Those who want to use their personal faith in a religion to come to the same conclusion and live in the experience should study their own religious texts. The final shared value given here is selfless love, demonstrated by the movement of the quark, who seems to have an equal love for all and everybody. Professor Jack Shate of Emory University, his co-authors and co-researchers, have proved the importance of love as a management tool to create profitability. Other researchers also find that firms driven by a noble purpose outperform not only the general market but also their industry peers. Again, all religions, All philosophies that sustain civilizations state this. And those who want to use their personal faith as a means of living in the experience of this shared value should consult their texts. Technology creates comforts and luxuries, but 2008 showed that comforts and luxuries cannot prevent social problems. It is ideas and values that sustain civilizations. What understanding transforms human actions? Human values transform human thought, human words, and human deeds. How to incorporate human values in academic curriculum? The World Economic Forum, the OECD, seek a transformative curriculum. Can wisdom be added to it? 2 attempts have been made by the presenter. The first attempt is a book titled How to Prevent Recession that uses 108 diagrams to explain ancient wisdom and integrate its mindset with MBA curriculum ideas of TQM, costing, marketing, strategy, etc. The idea is to enable readers with the ability to predict recessions themselves, just as the author had used the same mindset to predict 2008. His article in October 2007 had said that the misuse of financial instruments like derivatives, leveraging, etc. in USA housing would lead the global economy into a recession. Its calculation had shown that the pain would become self-evident to everybody after end 2007. The second attempt, yet unpublished, integrates ancient wisdom in the understanding and application of mathematics, sciences, economics, etc. The idea of experiencing and living in the experience of 0 and 1 is derived from essays of this book. To address the concerns of those who are uncomfortable with using the idea of God or religion in academic curriculum, the foreword of these books has been written by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who does not believe in the concept of God. Instead, he works with scientists, professors of top global universities like Harvard, etc., to conduct research and experiments in the area of mindfulness. He concludes in the foreword of the first book that this is a very profound concept, and gives the logic for the second book in the foreword by stating that our existing education is inadequate for ensuring that we are happy. The business model of Wisdom Industry 4.0 given in the book How to Prevent Recession has wisdom-driven individuals at the core. They are both consumers and value creators at work in companies. As consumers, these wisdom-driven individuals seek value differently. This transforms the nature of demand in society. As wisdom-driven value creators, experiencing oneness with customers, they create value differently. This impacts the suppliers and also the clusters they work in. It impacts the industry, the home nation, and the family of nations. When the nature of demand and supply is impacted with values, the demands from the environment change, addressing many environmental issues of our time. This business model merges science with spirituality and with the business of living life, or the way of living life, to create both economic prosperity with well-being. And this addresses all the disadvantages of the digital age that are being given by many authors, thinkers, websites, etc. Industry 4.0 will see the convergence of digital, biological, and physical innovations. Wisdom 4.0 will see the convergence of religions, ideas, values, and attitudes. Ancient wisdom believes that prosperity with well-being is only possible if the basis of society is truth. Everybody is invited to test this hypothesis at work and in life to prevent the coming recessions. Thank you so much for your time and attention.